I am 78 years old, and there is a sentence I never expected to say out loud. I loved my job more than my children. Saying it still makes my chest tighten, not because it is dramatic, but because it is true. For most of my life, I would have denied it. I would have argued. I would have listed sacrifices, paychecks, long nights, and responsibilities. But denial is easy when time is on your side. Honesty only shows up when time is almost gone. For 46 years, I worked the same profession. I was proud of that. I built a reputation. People returned my calls. My opinion mattered in rooms where decisions were made. I told myself I was doing it all for my family. Every late night was for them. Every missed dinner was temporary. Every promise I broke would be made up later. Later became my favorite word. It allowed me to feel responsible without being present. My children grew up in a house where I was always almost there. I was physically present on weekends, mentally present during emergencies, and emotionally present only in brief flashes. I knew their schools, their grades, their activities. I did not know their fears. I did not know what kept them awake at night. I did not know the quiet disappointments that stack up when a parent is always busy, but never gone enough to be blamed. I told myself children are resilient. I told myself they would understand when they were older. I told myself love did not require time, only intention. Those were comfortable lies. They allowed me to keep choosing my work without feeling like a bad father. And when my career rewarded me, it reinforced the choice. Promotions feel like proof. Applause feels like validation. Silence at home feels normal when you are too tired to notice it. There is a moment every parent remembers clearly, even decades later. For me, it was a school play. My daughter was 8 years old. She had one line, just one. I promised I would be there. That afternoon, a client called with a problem that could not wait. I told myself I would slip in late. I told myself she would not notice. I arrived as the audience was leaving. My daughter was standing near the stage, still in costume, scanning faces. When she saw me, she smiled politely. That smile was different. It was careful. I did not recognize it then. I recognize it now. Moments like that do not explode. They erode. They wear things down quietly. After a while, your children stop asking, not because they do not care, but because they learn who you are available to be. They adjust their expectations to protect themselves. I mistook that adjustment for independence. I praised it. I was proud of how little they seemed to need me. I did not realize they learned that from me. When my son was 16, he asked me for advice about something that mattered to him deeply. I do not even remember what it was now. I remember checking my watch while he spoke. I remember nodding without listening. I remember saying, "We will talk about this later." We never did. That was the day he stopped coming to me. I did not notice because my calendar was full and my inbox was demanding. Distance grows fastest when nobody is paying attention. I believed providing was the same as loving. I believed stability was enough. I believed showing up to the big moments excused my absence from the small ones. What I did not understand is that children do not remember the money. They remember the mood. They remember whether you leaned in or leaned away. They remember if you seemed interested in who they were becoming, not just what they were achieving. The first time I suspected something was wrong was years later, when my children were adults. We were together for a holiday. The conversation was polite, efficient, surface level. They spoke to me the way you speak to a colleague you respect, but do not know well. I told myself that was normal. I told myself adult children are busy. I told myself relationships change. What I did not tell myself was that closeness requires maintenance, and I had let ours decay. At 73, I retired. People congratulated me. They said I had earned it. They asked what I was most excited to do. I said spend time with my family. I believed that too. I imagined long conversations, shared trips, laughter filling the gaps left by work. What I did not anticipate was how difficult it would be to enter lives that had learned to function without me. You cannot simply arrive late and expect the story to pause for you. The realization came quietly, the way most important truths do. It was my birthday. 78 candles on a cake I did not really want. My children called. They were kind. They were respectful. They were brief. After the calls ended, I sat alone in my living room. surrounded by awards, plaques, and photographs from a career that had taken everything I had to give. And for the first time, I understood what I had traded for them. I had chosen to be needed at work instead of known at home. That night, I walked into my old office, now empty. The desk was clean, the phone was silent, no one needed me anymore. That is when it hit me. My work had moved on without me effortlessly. My children had learned to do the same years earlier. Careers replace you, families remember you, or they do not. And that difference is everything. This is not a story about blame or villainy. It is about choices made daily, quietly, repeatedly, choices that felt small then, but grew heavy later. I am telling this now because silence only deepens regret for everyone listening. After that night, memories began rearranging themselves. Things I had ignored for decades started demanding attention. I remembered mornings when I left before sunrise, telling myself I would make it up on the weekend. I remembered weekends filled with exhaustion instead of presence. I remembered how often I brought work home, not just physically but emotionally. Even when I was sitting at the table, my mind was somewhere else, solving problems that belonged to people who no longer remember my name. I began to see a pattern I had refused to acknowledge. When work was difficult, I leaned into it. When family life required emotional effort, I leaned away. Work rewarded me quickly. Family required patience. Work gave clear metrics. Family offered none. Success at work was visible, measurable, applauded. Success as a parent was quiet, private, and easy to overlook. So I chose the place where my efforts felt confirmed. I told myself I was doing the responsible thing. I told myself sacrifice was noble. But there is a difference between sacrifice and avoidance. I used responsibility as an excuse to avoid the discomfort of emotional engagement. Listening is harder than solving. Being present is harder than being productive. I did not understand that at the time. Or maybe I did, and chose not to look too closely. As my children grew older, they learned not to bring their inner lives to me. They talked about schedules, logistics, accomplishments. They did not talk about doubts, heartbreaks, or fears. That absence felt normal to me then. Now it feels like standing outside a house you once lived in, looking through a window at a life that continued without you. I reached out after my realization, not dramatically, just small attempts, invitations, questions. I asked how they were really doing. I asked about things beyond work and responsibilities. They answered politely, carefully. Trust erodes slowly, but rebuilding it takes longer than a lifetime sometimes. You cannot demand closeness after decades of distance. You can only offer consistency and hope it matters. There is a particular pain in realizing you are not cruel, just absent. Cruelty leaves scars you can point to. Absence leaves empty spaces that are harder to name. I was not an abusive father. I was not neglectful in the ways people warn you about. I was reliable. I was calm. I was distant. That combination is easy to justify and devastating to live with. I think about how often I said, "Remember, I am doing this for you." What I never asked was what they needed from me in that moment. I assumed my priorities should be theirs. I assumed my understanding of love was sufficient. Children do not need perfect parents. They need available ones. They need to feel chosen, not scheduled. Now at 78, time feels different. It is no longer a resource to manage. It is a countdown you feel in your bones. I cannot undo what I did. I cannot rewind conversations I missed, or evenings I chose work instead of listening. All I can do is tell the truth about what it cost me, and hope someone else hears it in time. If you are watching this and telling yourself you are different, that your situation is unique, that you will balance it better later, I understand that impulse. I told myself the same thing. I was not lying to others. I was lying to myself. Later is not a plan. It is a delay, and delay has consequences that do not show up until they are irreversible. Your job will never love you back. It will reward you, challenge you, consume you, and replace you. Your children will love you imperfectly and quietly until they stop trying. That stopping is subtle. You do not notice it when it happens. You notice it decades later, when the phone calls are shorter and the emotional distance feels permanent. I am not asking you to quit your work or abandon responsibility. I am asking you to notice where your attention goes when it matters. I am asking you to question what you are prioritizing without realizing it. Every time you choose work over connection, you are teaching your children what matters most to you. They believe you. There are moments you think do not matter. They matter. The conversation you postpone, the event you skip, the question you brush aside, those moments accumulate. They form the emotional memory your children carry into adulthood. They decide whether you become someone they turn toward or someone they update politely. I live with the knowledge that I loved my job more than my children, not because I hated them, but because I did not protect space for them. Love without time is intention without action. It feels meaningful to the person offering it and empty to the person receiving it. Some nights, I imagine what it would have been like to sit longer at the table, to ask one more question, to listen without glancing at a clock. These are small regrets, but they add up to a life that feels incomplete. I cannot change that. I can only speak it aloud now. If you still have children at home, or children who still answer your calls eagerly, you are richer than you think. Time is the only currency that does not renew. Spend it where it cannot be replaced. Do not assume presence can be postponed. Do not assume love is understood without being shown. I am 78 years old. I have enough clarity now to see what mattered, and not enough time to fix it fully. If this reaches you while your choices are still flexible, take it seriously. Not tomorrow, not after the next project. Today. This is not advice from a perfect parent. It is a confession from someone who waited too long to be honest with himself. If this resonates, sit with it. Talk to your children. Listen longer than is comfortable. Choose them while you still can. I waited. I lost more than I realized. Do not make the same trade.